Good morning there. You're watching QTV this morning, and I am Jenna Bosonko. And we hope that you had an amazing weekend and looking forward to a successful week. I'm here with my amazing co-host, Ibrahim Abalde, as well as our newspaper review guest, Mr. Mamadou Mbodj. Gentlemen, welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, it's good to be back here, Jenaba. I mean, like you mentioned, I mean, it's an amazing weekend.
You had an amazing weekend?
Yes.
What made it amazing?
You know, this weekend, I spent it at home with the family.
Special iftar?
Full time. And yesterday, I went out to a friend who invited me for iftar. You know, he's newly married, you know, and if I say a friend who is newly married, Eliza knows who I'm talking about. He invited me for iftar, so I was there. But you have to, I mean, one thing that made me perplexed, I mean, is that the new wife is a very good cook. You understand? You know, lohombi.
Waa léegi Balde xam nga la la bëgg a laaj xanaa lan moo si nekk comme exemple góor sa xarit bu góor bi invite la iftar moom mu dugg a waañ
boy bi dugg a waañ
waaw boy bi dugg a waañ
non xam nga
loolu la na si nekk
no bi is a different scenario
ok
understand nga
waaw
boy bi mun na moo dugg a waañ sax
waaw
waaye bii nii ñun dañ bëggoon a dem test iftar loxo jigéen bi
waaw loolu nag foofu la problème bi kaa bi
understand
kaa bi nag foofu la nekk
because
lu tax ngeen di test loxo jigéen bi luy problème
balaa mu koo taka tesoon nañ loxo bi
soo su mënutoon tooga du ko taka
waa xam nga tam biir xamut mënuma tooga
non man loolu yëpp laajuma la loolu dama la ne su mënutoon tooga dinañ ko takaam dinañ ko taka
ñun su mënutoon tooga duñ ko taka
baax na loolu rek laa bëggoon a dégg
understand nga ñun tooga must be part of the things you must be qualified pour nga mun a tooga waaye yàlla def nag ñun suñ jabar yëpp a mun a tooga
waaw léegi jigéen bi su toogee nag ne góor bi man tam ki ma war a taka dafa war a mun a tooga fañ koy yóbbu
waaw loolu tam dafa dépend si jigéen bi pour mu decide whether dafa nangu oo du nangu understand waaye ñun loolu is one of our qualifications boo xam ne
ba pare ok waa léegi Mr Mbodj aate ñu dafa am question bu ma la bëgg a laaj Mr Mbodj comment non baalal ma rek ma laajte la important point xam nga dafa ne jigéen bi su mënutoon tooga taka bi du am ba pare jigéen yi suñ ne dañ bëgg a sëy góor bu am xaalis ñu indi ñu koo nañu neñu ay góor digas lañ ba pare góor bi nee na su góor jigéen bi su mënutoon tooga du ko taka jigéen tam am na right ne góor bi bu amul xaalis du ma ko sëyal kaa bi jeex
waaye balaa ngaa ñëw
su boobaa ngeen góor digga lañ
gis nga jigéen pour mu sëy góor bu am xaalis loolu du problème
yéen ñu dee ooyee góor
loolu
digga
is not a problem a woman can decide to marry a wealthy man understand nga dafa depend si lan mooy ñoom seen agreement bi ak naka la jigéen bi buggee sëy ak ki nga xam ne he is wealthy understand nga waaye comme loolu am nga tam dafa important pour nga taka nga sëy góor bi nga xam ne mun na laa toppatoo mu faj sa soxla yi
su génnee outright wax ne góor bu am xaalis la bugga dañ ko dee categorize
waaye the problem is to the extreme the guy should be filthy
yow loolu warloo koo determine because yow tam nga ne boo taka jigéen bu mun a tooga nañ leen level playing field Mr Mbodj comment
Mr Mbodj jigéen
I cannot
Mr Mbodj comment
yéen a ma confused
waaw Mr Mbodj xam nga man lan mooy question bi ok let me simplify it for you my question is góor bi am na right pour determine qualities yu mu bëgg si jigéen tam am na right pour determine qualities yu mu bëgg si góor because often jigéen su limee qualities dañ la dee am fu ñu la dee categorize góor digga nga yow xamuloo sa boppa tangaa taanantu taanakati silipaas naa xaw ma naka lañ ko dee waxee
taanakati daala si carax
la moo mujj yaa ngi understand waaye góor am na right pour teg jigéen indi xaritam yi sax ñu lijjanti ko seet ndax mel na ni mu war a mel nañ waxante dëgga kanamam bi nii la mel dafa war a xees bu xeesu tee bu melut nii ba pare nga ne jigéen amul right pour moom tam mu lijjanti
non Mr Mbodj ñëwal
Mr Mbodj jaxasoo
na dama jaxasoo
na
okay let's put it this way say individual choice lan laa bëgga is relatively recent before yëpp kilifa yi ñooy arrange koy sëy
exactly
so léegi personal choice has come into it yes so dee personal choice la góor gi ne lii la bugga waaye remember ñu ne personal choice jigéen bi tam ne man it lii laa bugga
mu jeex
I agree with that
waaw waaye comme xam nga it's a matter of choice.
comme que noonu lañ léegi loolu la
buñ fi catégorise kenn kon
xam nga before parents ñoo daan doxal kilifa yi
maybe yow góor bi koo bugg a taka ki nga xam ne dafa tooga ok man munuma tooga ok for me
waaye jigéen bi dafa war a
man munuma tooga waaye soo gisee tam ma taka jigéen dama bëgg nekkul pour mu ñëw spécifiquement mu toogal ma waaye dafa ñëw sëy waaye side by side foog mu tooga ñu lekka mbokk
ba pare Mr Mbodj xam nga léegi góor yi lan lañ xewle local gaal si ñu ne duñ taka local gaal bi ñoo taka daal da nga war a nekk awtan am kayit
non
ñu mun laa taka
nekkul ñëpp de
waaw waaye loolu trend boobu moo am si biir dëkk bi te xew fi saf
some people prefer local chicken
non
understand some people prefer elewas
dañ ko dee bañ bene go for the paper
affaire yi ñaar moo fi nekk
waaw loolu moo fi am
so ku
ñun local gaal fii dinañ ko méeg de ñun xaw ma keneen waaye insha allahu rabbi si ndimbali yàlla ak suñ détermination ñun local gaal si dinañ ko méeg
gaal si you are not there
parce que amuñ kayit amuñ nekkuñ amuñ dual citizenship moo tax
so léegi affaire bi kayit la daal
affaire kayit moo am si dëkk bi fii Mr Mbodj
understand nga da nga war a teg sa tànk fu dëgër
waaw góor yi léegi loolu lañ xewle
xam nga you have someone from far nga am keneen ki fii
waaw
understand nga fii
te jigéen su ko defee ñu ne jigéen bi góor digga la góor bu am kayit la moo toppa waaye léegi góori Gambie ñun local gaal si defatuñu ñuy dara local gaal si takku leen de
da ngeen ñu woon jine
takku leen
affaire yi fii système bi local gaal si dañu woon jine soo amul dara you are nothing.
ba pare yow tam ngay toppi ko am kayit. ñoo fi am di.
moo tax nag
so ku nekk sa
ku
interest
nekk
nga
sa
topp rek
interest boppa local gaal si daal takku leen ngeen dëgër di Gambia fii tekki fii dañ ko fee tekki account yu fees dal teg suñu kër. incha allah waaw.
with the dalasi.
xay mu mun a am nañ dem rek.
so what is the common interest one understands
xaalis
individual
kayit ak yooyu.
waaye lan ay the common interest.
mooy security
nañ dugg si code bi security bi la.
security la rek affaire si yëpp affaire de
dégg nga mu ne with dalasi bi dinañ ko fi teekee incha allahu rabbi.
non xam naa
maa la ñoo la ko dig.
dalasi bi baax na.
waaw nañ dem ak code bi.
waaye dollar bi is better.
dollar bi is better ak euro bi. waaye ayooy. non lii du ma ko mun.
balde ban naa.
nañ dem ak proverbe if you want your dinner dafa mel ni code bi sax ñun dañ àndaa moom. mu ne.
do not insult the cook.
waaw.
awa grandpa lu moo def si screen bi moom.
mu ne if you want your dinner do not insult the cook. su boobaa nag suñu amee jànki international ba parce que mooy cook bi ñuy daw si gannaawam di ndanka
di dogo
di ko neexal di ko dogo waaye jànki local bi ñu ne duñ dogo wante kooku. waaye yéen tamit lii métti na Mr Mbodj. kayit bi dafa important dual citizenship bi.
non xam nga kayit security la soo amee kayit bi rek yaa ngi baax Mr Mbodj let's be realistic I mean Mr Mbodj yow suñu oncle nga yaa balaa maa daane xam nga fu ma jëm so yow war ngaa mun a ne ok lii yàgg na fii nekku tey rek la door yàgg na fii.
no man I grew up in a different world moo tax I'm really bemused by what you're saying I have no idea what you're talking about man if you say do I like the person I really do not care whatever I'm not interested in that do I like you as a human being and I want to have kids with you. It's about the future.
Exactly.
And certain considerations for it. So I feel, I don't know, utilitarian ideas of say, there's no romance in it. Oh my God, yalla ma yalla musal to that kind of world. I wouldn't want to be in that world.
Pour man, suma say I'm no romance. Understand nga? Man, I love my wife.
No, why hangling no halate ne? Waxuñ sa boss ne. Generally, the idea of kayit.
Am na keneen tam koo xam ne moom suma situation xam nga moom noonu la moo doxee man bu ma doon dem ba sëy sax seetuma yooyu. because dama seet individual bi xam naa ne kii man ak moom waaw loolu yàgg na. man fàtte naa loolu sa at bi. understand nga so dama gis na kii. war naa build future ak moom.
That's the whole idea. That's what I was talking about.
xam nga te sant yàlla noonu la demee.
alhamdulillah
so kooku du ma ko seetee bët yooyu. waaye next.
gis nga waaye next gis nga so Mr Mbodj wax bi dem na xam nga Mr Mbodj sama lan moo ma dee naxari si kaa bi mooy proverbe bii nii suñ amee ki am dual citizenship bi ku am kayit ki dañoo nekk di la béege di ndanka yow di neexalante yow because xam nañ ne suñ la merlooyee you can spoil the paper for them déedéet waa xara xam nañ ne soo leen merlooyee kayit bi dafaa yaaxu so even suñ la bugutee dañoo nekk di la béege whilst ñu ngeen naxaral beneen doomi jàmbur comme ki nu mu ko waxee next has to be borom kayit
doomi jàmbur waxut la dafa naxar de
man de jigéen bu nekk fii boo tëddee ngay jooy doo ko jooy si sa kanami morom waaye ñun ñëpp jigéen lañ xam nañ ñu metti
xam nga what she fail to understand mooy gis nga ñun dañ grow up in a society boo xam ne dafa am yeena yoo xam ne ñun is normal
non
waaye ñoom because of this conventional lifestyle boo xam ne boobu la gaay take up the western
Mr Mbodj mu ngi nii fekkee na time Jawara
ñoom loolu normalut understand nga ñun loolu dafa normal suñ oncle yi def nañ ko fii
waaye because of that dafa tax mu normal
ñeneen def nañ ko fii waaye das ñun suñ society bi dañ ko adjust ñu set ko in such a way mu normal si ñun soo takkee beneen jabar loolu warut a nekk problème bi force jabar bi
Mr Mbodj takkin bi mooy am nga uyu ma am nga sa local gaal bi ki nga taka te yàlla tax
gis nga ñu dee
waaye beneen jigéen boo si am
ñu dee complain seen jigéen yaa lay takka ñaareel nag
koo am si biti kooku intérêt tax nga am ko kayit bi wax bi dem na ñëw na daal boys yi maa ko wax li ma fekkee la te dégg naa campé ay boys di ko wax kayit bi daal ñu ne go for the papers loolu lañ xew
man daal booy bu bugg a takka fii
go for the papers lañ wax
bu nekkee ne paper lam laa jox marry the person
ok
waaw
no problem
but I have no problem with that
amuloo si problème nit takka nit pour kayit kese
waaw waaye at the end of the time tam loolu dafa nekk advantage for everybody
ndeysaan
understand nga
yéen seen world is so mercenary
waaw because mercenary boobu noonu loolu mooy système bi noonu la nekk di dox
yéen a ko def système bi du système bi du système bi
mooy nit ñi
Mr Mbodj
nit ñi ñoo dee doxal système
Mr Mbodj maa tooga nit maa tooga booy mu ne ma ne jeena ba du ma takka benn jigéen bi nga xam ne kooku nekkut si dara te dafaa indi lu dëgër si kaw taabul bi so dangaa gis ne time boobu instead of jigéen yi xam nga time boobu jigéen yaa daan depend on di góor pour mu teg dara si taabul bi léegi góor yi dafa tuñ de yow jigéen bi dañoo make sure na sa kaar yaa ngi dëgër yaa ngi fees yaa ngi dëgër yaa ngi samp boo samp wutee duñ la takk loolu moo fi
bii dafa complicated
waaw
because xam nga yaa ngi ma jox di conventional scenario ne jigéen ñi ñoo daan depend on góor yi ak all la non waaye ñun bi ñoo nekk in our 20s jigéen ñi daan nekkal soo leen génnee dem dina nga bëgg a fay mu ne la xëy du ma sa morom jox ma lanay bil bi mu fay
waa nañ fi demee rek Mr Mbodj doy na
ñun gis nañ yëpp
loolu amatul waxalal sa boppa de waxalal sa boppa nañ dem break let's go for a short break and when we come back we'll head right on to the newspaper review don't go anywhere.
QMoney is back again with its easy-to-use, secure and convenient mobile app that allows you to carry out all your transactions. No matter where you are or what time it is, you can always access your funds. With the new QMoney app, you can cash in and out, buy credit, buy QPower, shop, make payments, and so much more. You can also send QMoney, pay bills, receive international remittances, and transfer cash to others. Just download the app from your Play Store or App Store and get started. For more information, call customer care on 133. QMoney, Sinu Calpe. We innovate, others follow.
Welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning, and I am your host, Jenna Bosonko, here with my amazing co-host, Ibrahim Abalde, and our newspaper review guest. So that debate we will skip for another time.
Another day.
It was heated, but, you know, you're watching online, so tell us your opinion on what you think about this particular trend, because Mr. Mbodj is like it didn't exist during their time. It's just coming up now. So let us know what you think about this particular scenario. And moving ahead.
And just to remind our viewers,
yes,
our head of news, Mr. Adedrame.
Yes.
People maybe they've not been seeing him on
yes,
QTV. I mean, he lost his brother.
Yes.
I mean, he's currently in the UK. You know, we pray for his soul to rest in peace, and you know, for Ade to settle everything and come back so that we can have him on this morning, so that we can continue this debate, and he will start telling us in Sierra Leone.
In Sierra Leone, in UK. Yeah, so we're sending him some love and light. Yes. Yeah, I'm glad that you brought this up. We're sending him some love and light. He lost his dear brother, John, and we're glad that he was able to make it to the UK and be with him during that particular, you know, critical moment, the end. Yeah, we were sending Mr. Ade to him and his family our condolences. So moving on, over the weekend we saw a list of 43 countries who either have 60 days to clear concerns when it comes to visa with the US, or few countries that are currently going to be restricted, and some countries that are totally banned. So for Gambia falls on the list of countries that have 60 days to address concerns. But these concerns are not quite clear. They didn't elaborate to say this and this and this is the concern that Gambia, I mean, some few online blogs came up with suggestions, but we can't depend on that, because according to the list and the document, there's nothing to specifically say that this is the reason why, you know, the Gambia can be potentially banned or restricted from entering the United States of America.
Absolutely. This is the Trump revolution. Nobody knows where we are going. So we better adapt very quickly to this new reality. How is the government of the Gambia? How are we going to do that? What are we going to do? I do not know. I'm not a part of the government, but this is it. You have to adapt quickly to this reality. Immigration is a huge issue, not just in the US, the whole Western democracies, and this is the new reality. Let's deal with it. So this is it. That's what I have to say.
Well, I mean, it's unfortunate that you know, getting used to some of these I mean, terms put in place. But, you know, there must be a plan, you know, to make sure it doesn't affect the Gambia much. I mean, when countries decide to put a particular ban, then authorities should go back to the drawing board and, you know, try to devise ways to make sure, I mean, there is a solution.
Maybe this was the sort of kick up the back that some of us needed to really wake up, that the status quo, we were just too complacent with the status quo. And it wasn't really in our interest. The dependence on the West on all sorts of things. Earlier on, you were talking about, so I'm on paper, do man say. It's really part of the same thing. You know, everybody was to go and look at this back way. Maybe, you know what I mean? So perhaps we needed this kick up the Khyber.
Locally.
Wake up
and
start making
smell
it
the
at
coffee.
home.
Exactly.
That's it. Well, you know, make your economy work, make your society work for you to stay.
We have a problem, Mr. Mamadou Mbodj. At some point, Gambia, I mean, is dependent, you know, onto other countries, the US, you know, different, I mean, bodies helping when it comes to certain things in our country. I follow Burkina Faso, their new president. I follow some of the things that he's been doing since he took over power. There are things that, you know, they've been receiving from the West. I mean, most of those things are banned due to the coup d'etat. And you can see now how Burkina, I mean, is trying to adapt, you know, to being alone, and also trying to find other solutions for themselves. So I think sometimes it can be a blessing in disguise.
Not necessarily to be alone, because they formed the Alliance of Sahel States there with Niger and Mali. So there are things that they're trying to do. And moving away from the French, they also move towards the Russians. So this is my worry. I don't want to move away from one master to take another master. We want to move into a society where we wouldn't have masters. But here, you cannot do it alone. Individually, you're too weak. You can never do it.
You can't. We are
but
interconnected,
as a group, then maybe you stand a chance. So here, the idea of forming that group, it's been quite difficult, because for a long time, be the AU, be the ECOWAS, it was sort of like a cozy club of dictators and that sort of thing. Then afterwards, it's trying to change. Now it's trying to encourage democracy in different countries. But again, the problem is when civil governments were engaged in corruption and all nasty things, they will never say anything. Then there's a coup, then they start condemning and stuff like that. It even happened with Guinea, with Alpha Condé before. So these bodies sort of have to find a way of sort of working where we can be more effective. We've not been really that effective, even though in recent years we have to say, we have to commend these bodies for sort of trying, for sort of, they're waking up now, beginning to smell the coffee, as Americans would say. There's a new reality now, and we have to wake up to it.
We've also seen President Barrow's statement as the chairman of the OIC on Islamophobia Day, the fear and the hatred, hospitality towards the Islamic religion. And we saw that statement, and he's pointing at how it came during the month of Ramadan, and Islam is not what generally people think it is. It's meant to send love,
peace and total submission to the will of God. I mean,
it's not what it is.
I suspect that when you look around the world today, people who espouse, if you like, Islamophobia, overall they're not really in the majority. A lot of people now have a sort of a pluralist, they believe in pluralism, different cultures, different religions. I think that model has essentially won. But sometimes with politicians, for political ends, they will manipulate these things because they know that in their societies, especially in the West perhaps, you have these latent feelings. So they just tap into it. It's just the same thing they do with immigration, with immigrants. When things begin to go wrong, they'll look for a scapegoat. They'll blame immigrants or Muslims or all these sort of marginalized groups, vulnerable groups. But you need a scapegoat. So that will, therefore, you wouldn't go to the root of the problem, but you have an easy answer to a profound problem, really. But politicians, they like providing easy answers.
Yes, so currently we have the PRO of the Gambia Fire Service on the line, but before we engage with him, we have a video that we want to play on the Latrikunda Sabiji Market fire, which happened at midnight, and there's just a lot of different things that I read online. So we have the PRO online who will clarify how this fire actually started. But the mayor, Talib Ahmed Bensouda, the mayor of KMC, went round to, check how it started, sympathize with the victims and all of that. So we will take a look at that. And when we come back, we will be on a call with the Fire and Rescue Service PRO, who will give us an update on what actually happened.
wante di leen masawu bu baax a bu baax lii naxari nañu kenn bëggul lii ñun ñoo amee marché yi luñ bëgg suñ marché yi dem kanam suñ marché ñu óor bu fee ñëw nga ñibbi ak sa alal ak sa bakkan wante marché nag dafa bari ay tolox dafa bari ay problème number one problème marché moo nekk interest yi dafa bari agenda yi dañ bari ba pare politique daf dee mun a dugg si marché yëfi yoon yu fata yàgg nañ di ko wax man depuis ñu élect ma 2018 maa jëkka door di clear yoon yu dee dugg si biir marché wante mu am ñu ebal seen boppa dem State House ñu ne mayor dafa bon mayor bugut jigéen yi mayor mi ngi sonal jigéen yi kenn bugut a sonal jigéen man am naa yaay am naa ay sista am naa ay cousine am naa doom bu jigéen duma musa sonal jigéen suma àdduna duma ko musa xalaat te service suñ leen koolee rek dañu war a mun a dugg gaaw fay ko ñu ngi rafetlu ñoom tam seen liggéey bu rafet buñ fi def ñu maa gërëm tam mooy yuut su nga xam ne am na ñu si gaañu am na ñu nga xam ne saxaar bu bari dugg na seen dënn bi xeex nañ ba wàññi safara bi ñu ngi leen di gërëm bu baax a bu baax connexion bu nekk si marché bi nañ ko seet bu baax doo mun a jël pôle nga dem nga connect sa on waya dugal ko sa sob nu la neexee ba pare ku gis sa dëkkandoor di def loolu war nga koo stop parce que gis nañ lu fi xew soo gisee sa dëkkandoor sa morom muy def illegal connection nga ne ko bàyyi looy def lii wala naa la report police naa la report KMC parce que yaa ngi protect sa boppa yaa ngi protect askan bi loolu man leen koo ñaax bu baax a bu baax luñ bugga lii lesin la soo jàngut si lii kon doo jàngaat bugga nañ waa marché yëpp ñu jànga si lii.
All right, that is Mayor Talib Ahmed Bensouda at a visit at the Latrikunda Sabaji market. That's where the fire, the scene where the fire took place. And we have the PRO of the Gambia Fire and Rescue Service on the line who will give us an update on what actually happened. So, PRO, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, so can you just give us an update as to how this fire started? Where did it originate from?
Thank you very much. The Gambia Fire and Rescue Service has responded to 2 market fires in the early hours of Sunday, 16 March 2025. And these fires were at Latrikunda and Serekunda markets, respectively. Serekunda Fire and Rescue Station was called to respond to an outbreak of fire at Latrikunda at 0107 hours. The crew on duty then responded. When they reached there, it was difficult for them to access the route because of some tables and other things were on the highway that were supposed to be used by them to get to the seat of the fire. However, they managed to do so, and when they reached the heart of the fire, they were able to contain and put out the fire. Although some significant loss of property was registered, but the fire was contained and extinguished. In a similar vein, there was also an outbreak of fire at Serekunda. The same crew, but before that, at the Latrikunda, Serekunda responded, but they were backed up by Bakau, Kotu, and then Brikama. And they also, Swiftgam, I must thank them for also deploying their vehicle to come and relay water to the firefighters at Latrikunda. So, some hours later, at 0620, a call came to Serekunda to report that there was an outbreak of fire at Serekunda market. The crew went and then responded. They were able to contain the fire also and then get it extinguished. Yes.
Yeah, so according to reports online by local media is that this is due to an electric spark from a particular shop that is selling some essential oils. Is that so? Because that is what is being reported currently.
According to
it
the
has to do with an
Fire
electric
Service, we are yet to determine the cause of the fire.
Okay.
We said online, but as an institution responsible for firefighting and fire-related matters in the Gambia, we are yet to establish the cause of the 2 fires.
Okay. So how many shops altogether are affected?
At Serekunda, we have 1 canteen registered as completely destroyed by the fire.
Okay.
But at Latrikunda, our crews are on processing or, analyzing how much canteen has been involved in the fire. It is a process, so we are not completely ready as to how many canteens were destroyed at Latrikunda.
Okay, so the main challenge that you face when it comes to this fire outbreak at Latrikunda Sabiji is the fact that you did not have access to the scene.
Yeah, yes, we did not. But this is a common problem in the Gambia, if I may use that language. Because most of the markets have their highways that are designed for emergency purposes. But at the end of the day, they are occupied. I don't know who gave them, the permission for people to occupy them. I don't know. But for us, it is always acting as a hindrance to our operational, activities.
Yeah. So
when you come to firefighting.
PRO, is there going to be a collaboration with market committees, the KMC, and other authorities responsible so that this path, they can be reserved for emergencies like this?
Yes, these highways are designed, that's what they are designed for. So over time, they get encroached by people. So, of course, there is a collaboration. We are willing to work with any relevant stakeholders to make sure that these paveways or highways in the markets are protected for the use of what they are being designed for.
So were you able to establish the cause of this fire? Because information that I received, I mean, it's just a hearsay information, that it started due to some pile of waste somewhere. I don't know if that is...
Yeah, but he did confirm that. He did
Okay.
confirm that they're yet to...
Okay, I didn't get that.
Yeah, so
Yes,
they're
they are
yet
yet
to
to.
actually
That is the
confirm
cause
that.
of the two falls.
Okay.
Yeah,
all
so
right.
On the
also...
process, you know, it takes some investigators to ensure that these causes are established.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So, Mr. Mboj, there was this time that there was a campaign on ensuring that businesses have fire extinguishers. You know, there will be a campaign, they will be trained. The ordinary citizens who have businesses will be trained on how to use fire extinguishers at their own level. So how is that campaign to ensure that maybe people who are, markets are very prone to fire outbreaks. You know, is there any plan to ensure that stores, for example, have in a corner fire extinguishers and they're taught how to use these so that when such happens, it can be contained early? Is there any plans towards that?
Yes, these are requirements that can be developed. Yes, as a department, we are ready to collaborate with any stakeholders to ensure that people are trained on extinguishers, but also to have extinguishers positioned in strategic locations in our markets. These are very important because they are very effective on fires that are just starting. So when we have people who are trained and are managing these extinguishers, of course, when there are an outbreak of fires in places, yes, they can just get them and then ensure that they extinguish the fire. If it is not possible for them, but they can retard the growth of the fire. And then while they make a call to the fire brigade to come and help.
Yeah, Mr. Mboj, quickly.
Yes, just one question quickly. Before this market fire, over the past few years, we've had a few market fires. After your investigations, have you seen any pattern emerging?
Yes. Actually, some of the past fire breaks at markets are as a result of, poor electrical installations, but also abusing electricity. You know, we may have a very good electrical installations, the equipment are good, but then how people consume them is another problem. So we need to be cautious of that.
Well, what can you do about this so-called poor electrical installation? Which other departments can you work with? What can we do about that? Because it appears as if we are not doing anything about it, even though we've seen this pattern emerging.
Then we need to have regulations. It's regulations that can make us comply to standards.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, PRO, on the program and giving us that update. Mr. Mboj, thank you so much for joining us. That is all we have time for. We'll just go for a short break. And when we come back, we'll be taking a look at Visual Reality Education Technology Initiative. We all remember during the COVID-19 pandemic how we had to all resort to visual learning,
distance learning,
and all of that. So let's take a short break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by an official from the Ministry of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology to take us through how they intend to implement this. We'll be right back.
imurundana ne koteke anila ni mobile app sone yaringo alanna yata ndu ise kuol bekeno ibeda woda wati ise munafanno ila kodola anin kiumani la ni mobile app kuto ise kodo dundino ye kodo fintinde ise credit ko sanno ye kiu power sang ye fengol sang ndu fanan ise mol jono anin ku jamalu ise kiumani kino ye la bilol jo ndu fanan bantala banko se kodo kiyeno ise kodo fanan kino do kotenye kurke munafanyina a download sign Play Store anin App Store ni la taka kusere ngo sotoje Q-Money customer care commandi 133 Q-Money suñu kalpe ntolle nga silo walang dole mol noma Q-Money delsina ak sen mobile app bu bes bi orna gawna te hit mun nga ko jëfande ko pour def ci lo buga fo mun di ne watu bu ne mun nga jot sa xaalis ak Q-Money mobile app bu bes bi mun nga dugal xaalis génné xaalis jënd ci crédit jënd ci Q Power jënd lo buga ak yu bari mun nga ci yone Q-Money fay sa bill si jot xaalis bitim réew yónnee xaalis ci noo ko bëggee looy def yombana downloadal app bi léegi ca Play Store bu dul loolu App Store pour nga door pour am si lu leer koolal Q-Money customer care si 133 Q-Money suñu kalpe ñoo xaali yoon wi ñeneen toppa
QCell's Q Prayer and Q Ramadan service reminds you of your 5 daily prayer times and the start and end times for your fast. Simply send prayer to 331 to be reminded of the 5 daily prayer times. Send Ramadan or fast to 332 to be notified of the start and iftar time of fasting on a daily basis. QCell wishes you all a blessed Ramadan. We innovate, others follow.
QCell's Q prayer kanyung e Q Ramadan service andin tintama watu mo julata dat e joydem fow e watu mo fuɗɗotoɗa horugol e watu mo tajata nuldu prayer ka 331 fi anda watu mo julata dar e joydem fow nuldu Ramadan maɗum fas ka 332 andin tintama watu mo fuɗɗotoɗa e watu mo tajata horugol mangol QCell no duwanoma sumaye wonduɗo e barki minen udditi lawol ngol si woɓɓe jokki.
Welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. And now, Ibrahim, we're shifting our attention to visual reality learning. And we're joined by Muhtar M.Y. Dabo. He's the Deputy Permanent Secretary Technical. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. So tell us, what is this all about, the Visual Reality Education Technology Initiative?
Thank you very much. Virtual reality. Virtual, yes. Virtual reality, it's to give the students, it's the kind of technology that gives students an option, an alternative to experience learning in a different, to give them a different experience as far as learning is concerned.
All right.
A good example would be, let's say, medical students, for instance. If they are not able to have access to conduct physical surgeries on the body, the virtual environment can give them the opportunity to travel throughout the whole body and do whatever operations that are necessary in a virtual environment. You can use that to train them before they actually have the opportunity to practice this on a physical human being. That's just one example. Another would be in an event where access to laboratories is a challenge, which is already a challenge in most developing countries, including the Gambia. Virtual reality provides the environment for these students to have their hands-on experience with actual laboratory experiments. The only difference is it's happening in a virtual environment instead of a real reality. That's the difference. They call it virtual reality and real reality.
Yeah.
So in the absence of real reality, virtual reality offers an option to explore the similar experiences.
So who are the students that will benefit from this VL?
VR, it's a pilot brought by the ISESCO, the Islamic Cultural, Educational and Scientific Organization, which is the Islamic version of UNESCO. It has 53 member countries. And the pilot is being tried in Gambia, Morocco, Pakistan, I think Oman, not sure exactly. But Gambia is among the few countries that these technologies are being piloted. And the technology is from the, what do you call this? Aventis Education UK. So we are lucky to be part of the few countries that have these VR headsets you can see on the table.
Yeah.
These are virtual reality headsets.
Let me try putting it on.
Well, has it even started?
Yes, it started, but
okay.
So can I put it on and start enjoying?
You can put it on, but it is controlled by a program.
Okay.
Which is a computer program.
Okay.
So that that's something the teacher would control and would be directing the.
So what is the target grade? Or university or?
It's from the we're starting from the lower grades. We are working with the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education.
Okay.
And the University of Education, which is formerly the Gambia College for the teacher training.
Okay.
You will realize that these headsets are really very expensive.
Yes.
I think the cheaper one you get, it's around $500.
Wow.
So it's between 500 up to 3,000.
Okay.
You've heard of the Apple Vision. It's
Yeah.
another VR headset for spatial computing.
Yeah.
Really expensive. So we're starting small and gradually looking forward to expand this to at
But
least
are you seeing something?
I'm seeing something.
What are you seeing?
There's something turning inside. But I think due to maybe the control mechanism,
Yeah.
I'll not be able to access,
Like you mentioned. Yeah.
I mean, all of those things.
So I just want to understand, how is the process going to happen? Are you going to be providing some of these to the schools? You know, I just want to have a clear understanding. Have the teachers already been trained? Are the students also going to be trained?
Yes, we have over last week. The last week was these VR headsets were deployed at. We started with St. Joseph's.
St. Joseph's
Senior Secondary School in Banjul, where the deployment took place,
Yes.
and the teachers were trained on how to use this. It was demonstrated, and a training was also conducted at the University of Education, where teachers were also trained on this experience. Because these headsets are expensive, it would be difficult to provide access to the whole, the whole
Class.
country
Yeah.
at once. So what we did was we made improvised VR headsets during the teacher training workshop at the University of Education, so that when they go back to their schools, they can share some kind of experience, VR experience, with their students, at least for a start, before we get the actual headsets available to all the schools.
Okay, so is there going to be like a continuity plan?
Yes, there is going to be a continuity plan to roll out the headsets to all the schools. That's a long-term plan, by the way, because of the cost implications.
So are we going to be, the government of the Gambia will be funding that? Or we'll be getting the entire funding from the...
We will be working with our development partners to mobilize the necessary resources to provide these headsets to all the schools.
So how is the effectiveness measured?
Well, it's going to be measured over a period by the ISISCO working together with us, because these things are going to be in the schools, and over time they will be collecting data and conducting studies on how effective the VR headsets are in terms of improving the teaching and learning in schools.
All right. I think this is a step in the right direction. As technology is evolving, also, we have to ensure that, things get to evolve, and also the fact that it's starting in the lower grades is also a good thing. So when it was rolled out at St. Joseph's, what was the impression of the students?
Yes, you should have been there to see
The excitement.
excitement.
Yeah. Okay.
And because it's virtual reality, sometimes you are immersed. It's immersive. Sometimes you think you are really
in a different world.
Yeah, in that environment.
Yeah.
So I remember one video was about sharks, swimming with sharks.
Okay.
And the experience was really,
Yeah.
was somehow terrifying.
Yeah.
So I think when it is properly applied, it can really revolutionize the way teaching and learning is done in our schools.
Yeah, because we can remember during the COVID-19 pandemic, it's not this, but learning actually, that was, a turning point for learning across the world, that it's beyond the chalk and the blackboard. It goes beyond that. You can actually use technology effectively to ensure that people are educated. And you're right. I can remember when I went to China, I used one of these, and it was like a dinosaur or something that you were seeing. So everybody was terrified. So in other countries, it's been effectively used. And I think if we have it here and well understood, it should be good. But my only problem is with, the issue of starting these projects and then in the next 1 year, when you ask a question, it's nowhere to be found, that becomes a challenge. And are personnel properly trained at the level of the ministry for its sustainability?
We have bigger plans that are bigger than just deploying VR headsets.
Well, yes.
In the long term, we have really bigger plans that go well beyond the education systems. So take this as this Salaam Alaikum.
Okay.
You know.
No,
I like that.
I mean, I believe Janaba is saying it due to promises made and, you know, commitments made previously. You understand? I am pretty sure the Deputy Permanent Secretary before you was once saying we had bigger plans.
Yeah.
And we are still talking about the bigger plans.
Well,
Can you implement Musaf?
At least for the Ministry of Higher Education, we are taking the steps to really actualize those bigger plans.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just has to be incremental steps, one at a time. We provide this to educational institutions, and then we graduate into the bigger sectors. You know, there is a lot that can be done with this kind of technology. You might have heard of digital twins.
Yeah.
You think about the tourism sector, for instance. This can do amazing things for them. Imagine blending technology with the natural and historical sides. I mean, you have digital twins at work.
That's amazing.
Experience the Gambia when Gambia happens. I mean, during slavery, during the Soninke Marabu wars. These are things that can be reconstructed using technology, and to give the Gambians as well as the tourists a unique experience. So when I say we have the bigger plans, it's just in the pipeline coming. Once there is substantial knowledge and understanding of these technologies, then we are able to roll out, you know, something that is meaningful and impactful.
So are there any ethical concern raised, you know, while you were doing the testing at, is it Saint Joseph?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ethical concerns?
Yes.
In the use of the VR headsets?
Exactly.
No, not that I'm aware of. I mean, because already these are educational materials that are very international. They're used all over the world. So, but yes, we have to localize the content and make it adaptable so that it speaks to our culture, it speaks to our way of life.
Right.
I mean, eventually, the idea is to adapt these technologies and be the ones in position to develop the content that best suits the Gambian curriculum. So
we direct what we want the children
what we
to
want
see.
our children to see and to learn.
That's clear.
So eventually we would be the ones in charge through our partners at the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education. And, well, of course, with the universities and other learning institutions in the country.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Dabo, for joining us on the program.
Thank you.
And we are looking forward to the amazing things that this will do. Maybe you will also consider journalists at some point and see how our work can also be integrated.
Yes. We look at how to
every sector.
make every sector technology accessible.
Kind of, inclusivity. But
Absolutely.
thank you so much for joining us on the program. Ibrahima, I'm afraid that is all we have time for. So me and you will continue our debate after
On
this.
Wednesday?
No, upstairs when we go.
Upstairs, okay.
Because there's some elements that we can't talk about on TV. So me and him will get to continue our debate upstairs when we get there. But thank you so much for joining us. And we're wishing you all a successful week. So I will see you on Thursday. But Ibrahima will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye for now.